I just want to say that being here and seeing all your faces, seeing journalists and poets and teachers who I so respect and admire, this is truly humbling, and thank you for the chance to work with you, Kelly. I wanted just briefly to, I guess for me, it's important to remember that I.F. Stone did not set out to be an independent investigative reporter. Izzy was blacklisted during the McCarthy era, and he was bounced out of mainstream newspapers. He was excluded from the White House press corps and forced to pore through the brittle pages of the congressional record, scouring the little type for big truths that others couldn't see. His towering success is a reminder that all of us must rise to our own occasion and not expect the seemingly bright beacons of our past to guide our steps today. I did start my career in the so-called alternative press at the Chicago Reader, but then for 3 decades embraced the crackle and hum of a big, busy metro daily. And I came to see local and regional newsrooms like the Chicago Tribune as central to the story of American democracy. For decades, we held powerful people accountable, served as forums for local voices, and bound communities together. On my desk when I came to work every day were letters from citizens who felt they had nowhere else to turn. We reporters always knew that our civic mission was nested in the machinery of a for-profit corporation, one susceptible to the disruptions of big tech and the boneheaded captains of print. And so when the hedge fund, Alden Global Capital, dug its claws deep into the Chicago Tribune in 2020, I worked with a fellow reporter, Gary Marks, and others to find a civic-minded owner for the Trib and for Tribune publishing newsrooms in cities and small towns across America. Our quest was mirrored by many other similar efforts. We put our careers on the line and fought with every interview we managed to secure, every sentence we could write, and every ounce of strength we could muster. And we lost that campaign badly. I resigned from the Trib 2 days before Alden co-founder Randall Smith took a seat on Tribune Publishing's board. And today, Alden is the second largest owner of newspapers in the US. The managers of this avaricistic hedge fund are now draining this legacy title and 206 sister papers of assets, of talent, and of resources. The cratering of regional and local newsrooms has turned independent journalism into an American imperative. And we, Izzy's children and grandchildren, are forced, like him, to step outside established corporate institutions and build fresh, independent outlets. None of us here know what the future of news dissemination will look like. Not in 2 years, not in 5 years, not in 10. But I do know this future will belong to those who take risks and those who experiment. There are nascent independent outlets like the Memphian, the Baltimore Banner, and others competing successfully with hobbled metro dailies like the one where I worked. But replacing those dying giants will be difficult because the dailies had impact and readership since they were part of the lives of families for generations. The newspaper sat on the kitchen table every day because Grandma trusted the recipe, Grandpa studied the sports agate, and I loved the Looney Tunes. As those daily banners tatter and fade, that sort of trust cannot be instantly reconstituted by feisty nonprofits, as glorious as many are. And that is why Izzy Stone still must stride among us today. He wasn't beloved because he was independent. Izzy Stone was beloved because he adhered to the highest standards of transparency, accuracy, and public service. He built that trust, sentence by sentence, and article by article, and week after week. And we must recommit to training young reporters, giving them real-world tools that enable them to dig out meaningful information, techniques for interviewing confidential sources, for cracking official conspiracies, legal demands that open government records, ways to mine data, and of course, how to bear witness in the face of peril and watch the world with unblinking eyes. To connect with America and win back public trust, the children and grandchildren of Izzy Stone will have to recapture what those dying corporate newsrooms had but squandered and lost. This is how Izzy put it in an interview. "I made no claims to inside stuff," he said. "I tried to give information which could be documented so that the reader could check it out for himself. Upholding that standard is our imperative today." Check it out.